2:17 a.m., Caribbean Sea. A flash of light and then a violent explosion, twisted metal tearing through the tropical night. 10 minutes later, the hemisphere was closer to full-scale war than it had been in decades. The Freedom-class littoral combat ship USS Wichita lay dead in the water, alarms blaring over the hiss of escaping steam. Advanced systems failed, the superstructure wounded and smoldering, thick smoke rising into the air. This was not an accident or a collision. This was a deliberate, state-sponsored attack. Now let's analyze this scenario, beginning with this deadly miscalculation. We will detail how a Venezuelan attack on a U.S. warship triggered an overwhelming response. This is a work of fictional realism. We are exploring a high-risk scenario. A scenario driven by escalating tensions, reckless provocation, and a short fuse connecting a local incident to a global crisis. We will break down the motives behind the attack, the specific technology used, and the strategic doctrine that determined the inevitable, devastating response. If you value this kind of in-depth geopolitical and military analysis, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications now. You won't want to miss the breakdown of this confrontation. The time is 1:45 a.m. USS Wichita, an advanced Freedom-class LCS, cuts through the dark, still waters of the Caribbean. It is operating under standard procedure, conducting a Freedom of Navigation Patrol, or FONAP. The ship's integrated bridge system confirms its position 15 nautical miles off the Venezuelan coast, clearly and fully in international waters. Inside the Combat Information Center, the CIC is dim, tense, but routine. Cold digital light from the screens reflects off the faces of the young crew. They are professionals, and they are alert. They are also operating in one of the most volatile waters in the world. Skunk, skunk, skunk. The radar operator, a young petty officer, cuts through the soft electronic hum of the servers. Surface contact detected designated Alpha UN, bearing 240, fast-moving, no transponder. The watch officer leans forward, the contact is closing rapidly. This is not a lost fishing boat or a wandering freighter. Alpha 1 is small, agile, and moving at over 40 knots. Seconds later, a second contact, Alpha Cox, joins it. The ship's library identifies the most likely profiles. Alpha 1 is a PC APT fast attack craft, a known Iranian export. Alpha 2 is a Vosper patrol boat, a Larger 121 foot model. It is identified by its signal as the Venezuelan Navy patrol boat PG White Quarry. They are running dark. They are hunting. Both Red Force vessels begin aggressive maneuver. They form a pincer, closing to a dangerous distance of about 1,000 yards. Blinding high-power searchlights flare from White Quarry, attempting to blind Wichita's bridge crew. A distorted, hostile broadcast in broken Spanish crackles through the international hailing channel, ordering the U.S. ship to leave Venezuelan territorial waters immediately. Wichita's captain, still following strict rules of engagement, remains calm and professional. He orders a clear, firm warning broadcast in both English and Spanish. Venezuelan Navy vessel. This is a United States warship operating in international waters. We are conducting lawful operations. We will not alter course. Do not interfere with our transit. The warning is ignored. The PCAP now shadows Wichita's course, like a predator stalking prey. This is not an isolated act, it is a strategic miscalculation. The local Venezuelan coastal commander, emboldened by a recent delivery of Russian and Chinese-made anti-access, divided by area denial, A2 divided by AD, weapons, is acting under new aggressive directives from Caracas. The order is simple: be aggressive. This is political theater, a show of force for domestic audiences. A chance to demonstrate that new air defense and anti-ship missile systems make the coastline untouchable. A deadly mix of arrogance and desperation. A political decision made by leaders who do not understand the adversary they are provoking. They believe their new A2 divided by AD bubble will shield them from consequences. The time is 2:17 a.m. Wichita's captain spots a distinct thermal signature on the ship's combat sensors. Missile launch port side. On the PCAP, a button has been pressed. Two Nor anti-ship missiles, an Iranian variant of China's C-802, ignite their boosters and scream off the rails. Wichita's automated defenses snap to life. The CAWS close-in weapon system spins up and unleashes a furious burst of intercept fire. TAWS engaging. The first Nor is destroyed in a bright orange fireball, a cloud of shrapnel. But the second missile, sea-skimming in a weaving pattern, slips through. It slams into Wichita's aluminum superstructure near the helicopter hangar. The explosion is blinding. The ship lurches violently. The blast shockwave cripples the vessel, destroying key combat systems and igniting massive, intense fires. USS Wichita is not sinking, but it is out of the fight. The first shot of this new conflict was fired out of arrogance and despair. Even as Wichita's damage control teams fight the flames, the ship's automated systems have already done their job. A priority encrypted distress signal attacked by Venezuelan naval assets is transmitted through a military satellite. Before the first sailor reaches a fire hose, the attack is already displayed on a digital map at U.S. Southern Command, Southcom, in Florida. There is no debate about the response. It was pre-planned. The time is 2:35 a.m., and the White House Situation Room is fully active. Encrypted, timestamped satellite data is already on the main screen. Along with live motion video from a high-altitude RQ-4 Global Hawk already in the area, the National Security Advisor briefs the president the evidence is clear, an unprovoked act of aggression in international waters. Wichita is crippled, not sunk, but a red line has been crossed. The president authorizes a limited, proportional, but overwhelming military response under Articles 511 of the UN Charter. The goal is not invasion, it is punishment, the neutralization of offensive assets, and critically, the entire A2 divided by AD network that enabled the attack. This is not a war, it is a punitive strike, a textbook multi-domain operation. Venezuela's Red Forces have made a grave mistake. They believe their new A2 divided by AD bubble, built on Russia's advanced S-300VM air defenses and China's JY series radars, makes them untouchable. They were testing a theory. The Blue Force mission, approved in seconds, is to prove that theory catastrophically wrong. The response will be layered, invisible, and lethal. The first shot of the counterstrike is silent. At 3 a.m., U.S. Cyber Command, operating out of Fort Meade, begins degrading Venezuela's Integrated Air Defense System, the IADS. This isn't a Hollywood blackout. It is quieter than that. On the S-300 operator's screens, data flickers, target tracking solutions break down, and hundreds of ghost contacts begin appearing across their radar scope, flooding the system with false data. They are now blind, confused, and panicking, unaware that they are being deliberately cut off from the battle space. At 3:45 a.m., two B-2 Spirit bombers from the 509th Bomb Wing, operating out of Whiteman Air Force Base, have taken off. They were conducting a long-range global power training mission, a routine readiness demonstration. Now, they have been reassigned. They are in the battle space, and their systems are hot. Their new targets are uploaded through a secure data link. Their payload, a full load of JASSM, long-range standoff missiles. Inside the cockpit of Wraith 1, the pilots call sign Wraith Lead Watch, as their new digital tasking illuminates their screens. Not a single word is spoken over the radio. The orders are digital. Their new mission, the naval base at Puerto Cabello. Confirmed origin point of the attacking PCAP boats and the primary S-300VM battery protecting it. They fly at 40,000 feet, a black triangle against the darkness of space, completely invisible to the crippled radar network below. At 4:15 a.m., the B-2's bomb bay doors slide open with precise hydraulic motion. The JASSM-ER missiles drop free, ignite their engines, and accelerate away. They fly low, guided by GPS and inertial navigation, fully autonomous. On the ground, the S-300VM Gravestone engagement radar is still struggling to reboot. Its operators are trying to distinguish real threats from thousands of digital phantoms. They never even fire. An EA-18G Growler jams their search frequencies as a final insult. The JASSMs strike with flawless, devastating precision. The first two missiles slam into the docks at Puerto Cabello, vaporizing the patrol boats and their fuel stations in a massive fuel-air explosion. The next two missiles hit the S-300VM battery, the launchers, and more importantly, the Gravestone engagement radar are reduced to molten wreckage. The A2 divided by AD bubble is punctured. Wraith team is already heading home before Venezuela's ground crews even hear the first shockwave. A precise, devastating, invisible strike. The main threat is gone, but the night is not over. The United States must demonstrate that it owns the skies, not simply that it can punch a hole in them. And for that, the F-35 seconds are inbound. The B-2 strike was the sledgehammer designed to blow the door open. What follows is the scalpel. This is a suppression and destruction of enemy air defenses operation SEED divided by DEED, with the primary S-300VM Gravestone radar now a smoking crater. A four-ship F-35 strike package from the 33rd Fighter Squadron call sign Dagger 7 comes in from the east. Their job is not to fight for air superiority, their job is to establish it. They are hunters, tasked with finding and destroying any remaining mobile air defense systems, panicked Red Force units that survived the cyber strike. This is Air War 2 inches reality. F-35 seconds are not just stealth fighters, they are airborne quarterbacks. Their APS-80 radar, DAS sensors, and revolutionary EOTS targeting system do not function as isolated components. They are networked. All four aircraft are fusing their sensor data into a single shared picture, a God's eye view of the battle space. They see every heat signature, every radar emission, every cell phone signal. They are searching for a needle with the best $500 million toolkit in the world. The flight lead pilot DZ-1 sees a new symbol blink onto his helmet-mounted display. He doesn't look down, the data is projected directly onto his visor. The network system, tied to the EA-18G Growler offshore, has triangulated a new radar emission. It's a mobile SA-13 Gopher system, a short-range SAM, its frightened crew likely radiating in sheer panic. DZ-1 simply looks at the symbol, he designates the target with a voice command. Weapon target track. From his internal weapons bay, a GBU-53 divided by B, small diameter bomb 2, the Stormbreaker drops free. This is not just a bomb, it is a networked autonomous hunter. The SDB-2 glides silently, its own sensors acquiring the target. It identifies the SA-13, distinguishes it from a nearby civilian truck, and dives into its terminal phase. The Gopher crew never knows they've been targeted. The result is another precise, silent kill. With the airspace cleared, the mission pivots. This is a multi-domain operation, and the human element is essential. AP-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft, the eye over the ocean moves into position to coordinate the entire surface picture. From the south, an MH-60 Seahawk helicopter call sign Angel 1 lifts off from the deck of an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. USS Thomas Harner racing toward the scene. Angel 1 thunders toward the crippled USS Wichita. By 5 a.m., as the first hints of dawn break the horizon, the operation is complete. Venezuela's coastal defense network is not just damaged, it is annihilated. Total air and maritime dominance has been established. Wichita's wounded crew are being medevaced by MH-60R helicopters to the hospital ship. The ship itself still smolders, but it has been stabilized by heroic damage control teams preparing it for tow. Dawn reveals a new reality. The attack cost the United States one ship, but the 165-minute response cost Venezuela its entire multi-billion-dollar air defense network. Hotlines in Washington, Moscow, and Beijing are burning. What happens next? The United Nations Security Council meets in an emergency session before sunrise. Diplomatic theater begins. The Russian ambassador delivers a furious speech condemning the United States' blatant aggression against a sovereign nation. China's representative echoes the statement, calling it a dangerous escalation and a violation of international law. But behind the public outrage, in secure video conferences linking Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran, the mood is not anger. It is shock. Their most advanced export-grade air defenses, the S-300VM, and China's sophisticated radar systems were not merely defeated. They were rendered useless. They were shown to be completely ineffective against a fifth-generation, stealth-enabled network strike. The multi-billion-dollar anti-access divided by area denial bubble, the strategy all of them have been investing in, has just been exposed as a paper tiger. In 165 minutes, the United States proved it could break in, destroy the defenses, and leave before alarms were even understood. It did not escalate into total war. It was never intended to. It was a bloody nose, delivered with undeniable surgical precision. In Caracas, there is humiliating silence. The United States has demonstrated with infuriating effectiveness that its red lines are not suggestions nor negotiation points. They are enforced by overwhelming, high-tech force. The lesson delivered through said and deed is not meant only for Venezuela. It is a message broadcast to Tehran, Pyongyang, and Beijing. Its core theme is unmistakable. In modern warfare, the gap between a regional power and a true superpower is no longer measured in tanks or warships. It is measured in networks in the sensor-to-shooter chain. It is stealth, cyber warfare, and a command structure that can move from threat detection to target destruction in under 3 hours anywhere on the planet. Provoking a fifth-generation military, as this scenario demonstrates, is not a risk, it is a guarantee of devastating consequences. This is a hypothetical scenario, a war game analysis. But how many real-world flashpoints exist right now, only one bad decision or one reckless commander away from becoming this reality? What is the true cost of uncontrolled provocation in an era of hypersonic weapons and stealth aircraft? And in the new age of stealth and cyber, will the victim even see the retaliation coming until it is far too late? Subscribe for more geopolitical analysis. Which scenario should we analyze next? Let us know in the comments.